From Timcast.com, Alex Jones says deep state will try to assassinate former President Donald Trump. Radio show host says that corrupt government actors will never allow Trump to make good on a promise to prosecute them for their criminal activity. You want to know why I found this so interesting is that RFK Jr. said something similar recently. He said that he has to be aware of what they did to his uncle and his dad, right?
Yeah, his dad. Yeah.
And so he's like, it's a very real possibility. If we've come to a point, call it whatever you want, believe whatever you want to believe. The left can say far-right conspiracy theory, whatever. It's come to the point where high-profile personalities in this country, including one presidential contender himself, RFK, are afraid that there is a potential assassination looming for two different prominent high-profile contenders, and dare I say, front-runners. When we're talking about, like, let's say the top 5 candidates who could win. RFK Jr., they may call him fringe. They may say it's never going to happen, but he's polling really well. And so he's certainly polling better than any other Republican outside of Trump and DeSantis. And I think he's got more favorability than all other candidates. Now you got Alex Jones saying this, and a lot of people will say, oh, but Alex Jones is crazy. And I'm like, listen, we know that they're going to try to, they're literally prosecuting Trump. I don't know about going this far, but it's been said by other people, and it's been said before. And if RFK is saying something similar himself, it just, I don't know. Does it speak to the times? Does it speak to the times that we're in, that we're at this point? I was just talking about how the institution of this country is Swiss cheese. Like the fabric of this nation is being burned out from the inside, and it's fumbling and breaking apart. Could you have ever believed 10 years ago that we'd get to a point where a contender for the presidency would say he fears assassination? And when there's actual talk in the political space among high-profile shows of the former president who was running potentially being assassinated, like people wouldn't believe you if you said that's where we'd be.
You mentioned,
or maybe you would. I don't know.
You mentioned earlier the left having a problem with this. The left should not be, or is in no position to make comments about whether or not the CIA will or will not do something, because the CIA has been the boogeyman of the left for literally ever. If you ask anyone that's an actual leftist why socialism has not taken hold globally, it is going to be the CIA. That's what they're going to say. They're going to blame CIA. They do it all the time. So the idea that the left would reject a conspiracy theory about the CIA killing a president or possibly...
No. They love the CIA now. They love the FBI now. Like, because they control it. But they took it over.
The general umbrella left. Not leftists. Like fringe leftists still don't like them. They hate the United States. They hate institutions.
Yeah, I get that.
But like the liberals who used to pretend to align with the left, now absolutely. But I wonder, is this our last presidential election? And I mean that in a hyperbolic sense. Like, is this going to be a tumultuous and strange election that breaks the routine we've expected of every 4 years? In that it's not going to be Joe Biden. The way the reporters are coming after him, the way the Hunter Biden scandal is going, I'm hearing that Joe's lawyered up already.
It's going to be Michelle Obama and Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, maybe.
And Michelle's going to win. It's going to be Michelle. She's going to dominate.
I don't know.
That's what Alex was saying.
He thinks it's going to be Michelle?
He was like, it's either going to be Gavin at Michelle or Michelle Gavin.
And I've been saying something similar too. Like if Michelle Obama ran, I said this.
And then Obama will run the office from his basement in his sweats, just like he joked about wanting to do.
But the question is, do they have the wherewithal to maintain the machine that they failed to maintain for the past 8 years?
I think so. I think Michelle's the kind of person that can be shocked out of it. Like
It's
her and
not-
Barack
it's
are
not-
like asleep in the machine, but I sense
It's
their
not a
humanity.
single person. We're talking about, look, Donald Trump should not have gotten elected. It was supposed to be Hillary Clinton. And Trump won because they screwed up bad. 2020 comes around and they went insane in their panic and desperation to the point where Boston Globe reported they entertained the possibility of the West Coast seceding from the Union if Trump won again. Now, 2024 is coming around and Trump's in the polls doing really well. And they know Biden ain't got it. So what do they have? You're right. Last ditch effort, Michelle Obama. But even with a Michelle Obama, can they muster up the machine they need to defeat Donald Trump?
If they can do it with Biden, they can do it with Michelle.
That was during COVID.
Yeah, but I like Michelle, man, and I'm not even like I'm not registered Democrat or any of that, but I really like that girl. I think she is really smart. She's the reason Barack ever had the confidence to become president. She has 2 great kids, as far as I can tell.
What does that have to do with anything?
Disavow.
I think she'd be a good leader.
What?
I mean, I think she's stable. I think she's willing to say no to the crap, the bad stuff, and overturn what's gone too far.
Barack Obama killed a 16-year-old American kid.
I know. That's political command, but I don't like it.
See, I think Michelle Obama will be a despotic tyrant with a smile on her face, just like Barack
they all
was.
are. They all the presidents turn out to be that way.
I'm not gonna get behind them. And this is the funny thing, because I got the DeSantis people who are all mad at me, and they lie so much. Holy crap! They're like, they're tweeting about claiming that I said Trump will magically change his behavior and become the best president. I'm like, when did I said he has a slightly higher chance of firing people. That's it. I want to see the corruption dismantled. And is Trump going to be the greatest president of all time? No. On foreign policy, maybe. But that's just one specific area. There's a lot of bad things he did in foreign policy as well. But in terms of firing, corruption, ripping it from the system, Trump wants revenge. I'll take what I can get. Does it mean he's going to be good? No.
The problem with that is that he announced it. That he announced he was going to go in and arrest all these people. Like, no, dude, you don't.
That's why I won't vote for him.
But you don't. But that's why they won't let him win, because you can't show your hand beforehand and be like, "These are my secret plans. Once I get in, I'm going to end your career." You're like, no, they're not going to let you get in, dude.
He did play ball the first time around.
He tried, yeah.
He tried playing ball.
He thought it was going to be a traditional American presidency, and that was his big miscalculation.
Yep. And he brought in people we didn't like, and we criticized him for it, and he kept people on that he should have fired, and we criticized him for it because he thought, I'm going to work with them to the best of my abilities, and I'm going to do my agenda, and they were not having it. Now he's like, I realize the truth. They must be dismantled.
Yeah, but I'm not saying he's wrong or right. I'm not saying he's wrong, but he should not, in my opinion, he should not have said that out loud. He should have went in there, won the job, and then did it without telling anyone he was coming. Because if they know you're coming, they're going to fortify.
But they did. They accused him of being a traitor working for the Soviet Union. Not even Russia. The Soviet Union. Jonathan Chait goes on MSNBC and he's like, Trump might be a Soviet. It's like, the Soviet Union doesn't exist. He didn't say that explicitly. He said Trump may have been a Russian asset going back to the 80s. Yep. Okay, that would mean he was a Soviet asset, But
meanwhile, the Dems in this country, there was a letter from Ted Kennedy to the Soviets asking them to help fight against Reagan in the early 80s. Like, it was always the Dems that had aligned with the Soviets, and they were always partners.
Didn't Bernie Sanders go?
Yeah, I believe that's right.
In the Soviet Union.
Said it was great.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, people are disappearing, dying, being beaten.
There were plenty of people in the West that were very prepared to write apology pieces for the Soviet Union. There were people at the New York Times. I forget the guy's name. He was writing during the
Holodomor.
Not just, well, the Holodomor, yes, but I'm thinking about. I was thinking about something that someone was writing glowing pieces about Stalin, and he was at the New York Times, like writing great pieces about Stalin while Stalin was, killing millions of people and throwing people in the gulags, and while the gulag system was at its peak, there were people in the West writing glowing pieces about Stalin because they believe in the ideology, and they believed whatever you need to do to get to the communist utopia, to remake man as a socialist, was fine. That's the reason why the left always makes excuses for the horrors and atrocities that the left does, is because if we just get past this hard part, if we just get past the part where a bunch of people die, then we'll have remade society into a socialist utopia, and then we'll have the perfect society where everyone has what they need, and etc. So it'll be worth killing off this many people or whatever, because once we get through this bad part, then the utopia is on the other side. It's just that you never get through it. The bodies just pile up, and that's why you end up with dozens of millions dead.
Look, they want to eliminate free radicals to create what I would describe as a organism system. Mm-hmm. They want the people who are like, I would like to be an accountant and nothing more. And then they want that person to stay in their box and do what they're told. We're free radicals. We're bouncing around doing all this crazy individualism stuff. That's bad for the expansion of the machine into a higher state.
But it is good for America.
It's good for humanity, the world, for human progress. a decentralized system is better than a centralized one.
Yeah.
Because then Elon Musk said this, right? Because then it's better it's not decentralized, because then not everything goes to hell, right? Not everything fails at the same time. Right. You want diversity when it comes to nations. You don't want one world government.
Let's think about it this way. Little single-celled organism runs around, lives its life. It's fine. It eats, it lives, it dies. It happens. If the cell next to it dies, it's fine. But in a human, if a clump of cells in one part of the body fails, every other cell dies off. That's the risk of a centralized system. If a human dies, it causes damage to the greater system. Let's say the human's a farmer. Farmer dies. Okay, well, someone's got to pick up the slack and replace that person. That happens in a body like normal. A cell can die off and then it gets replaced by another one. However, if we centralize everything, then the risk of catastrophic cascade failure exponentially increases, because you cannot replace an accountant with a plumber. In a decentralized system, it's much easier to fill gaps, more fluid like water and less rigid.
Yeah, I guess you have an amalgam of a centralized, decentralized system. So just like a human body, you have a brain, which is kind of a pseudo-centralized or area of the system. You have a heart, you have a stomach, all these like minor centralizations. So like in any truly decentralized system, you have larger nodes, which tend to be seemingly a little more of a central area where more people are coagulating.
But if one node fails, it can be replicated, replaced, or the machine won't, the whole system doesn't collapse.
Yeah, you don't want to rely on any one area of the system ever. If you have to rely on one area for the system to function, that's a big vulnerability.
It's like we have two kidneys. If one fails, we might survive. We probably will with one, Think about that in terms of if I want to centralize humanity into one big machine, one big system. You get one centralized node failing that can't be replicated, and the machine will collapse. Humanity collapses, and then has to build itself back up from the ashes. Mm-hmm. I think decentralization works way better in terms of everything. The speed of progress, especially the happiness of people in general. The Soviet Union didn't work. People were miserable. They were starving. They were miserable. And the greatest point made is when the Berlin Wall came down, which side ran to which side? Mm-hmm. It's fairly obvious. Why would you want to live in a system where you're just suffering the whole time? You wouldn't. Now, the idea of the communists is get rid of the free radicals, find the cogs who are blind and happy to be blind, and they will be happy and they will own nothing.
Yeah, I always thought it was weird how they went after the intelligentsia in the Soviet Union. I was like,
of course.
Why? Oh, they're the ones that would challenge the system.
Free radicals. Got to get rid of the free radicals, man. Antioxidants.
One problem with decentralization is in finance. If you truly have a decentralized financial system, then there's no organized currency. And without organized currency, it's almost like we don't really have a country without a unified dollar. So if everyone had their own currency, Ian coin, Phil coin, Terry, I don't know. I think that would be a lot more chaotic and therefore potentially destructive of a world to live in. So in that, I value currency centralization, but I don't want a central bank controlling all the flow. You need checks and balances if you're going to have a central system. So you need to audit the Federal Reserve and anything that's attempting to control the money.
Or get rid of it.
Yeah. You could, but change it for something else, like that Indiana Jones move where he puts the bag of sand on. You want a new.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.